The person you think is rich is probably broke, and the person you completely ignore might be a millionaire. Most millionaires don't drive luxury cars. In fact, many of them never have. Thomas Stanley spent 20 years proving this, and what he found will make you question everything you think you know about wealth. Text animation. The Millionaire Next Door, Thomas Stanley. Chapter 1. The Shocking Truth. Rich versus wealthy, completely different things. Imagine two men. Man A. Drives a brand new Mercedes, lives in a beautiful house, wears designer clothes, everyone assumes he is wealthy. Man B drives a 10-year-old Toyota, lives in the same modest house for 20 years, buys clothes on sale. Nobody gives him a second look. Man A has $200,000 in debt. Man B has $4 million in the bank. Stanley found this pattern over and over across thousands of people. The ones who looked rich were secretly drowning, spending everything they earned, sometimes more. The ones who were actually wealthy, completely invisible, because they understood one truth that most people never learn: looking rich costs everything. Being rich costs nothing but discipline. Be honest right now. Are you building real wealth or just building an image? So who exactly are these invisible millionaires, and what makes them so completely different from everyone else? Chapter 2. Who real millionaires actually are. Hiding in plain sight, a man earning $300,000 a year, still living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because every single dollar went into looking successful. New car every 2 years, bigger house than he needed, dinners at expensive restaurants, vacations on credit. He had the perfect image of wealth, and almost nothing behind it. Meanwhile, Stanley's research showed most real millionaires own small, boring businesses. Pest control, welding, dry cleaning, farming supplies, live in the same house for 20-plus years, keep their car until it stops working, and never, ever talk about their money. Statistically, many high spenders prioritize lifestyle over savings, not because they're stupid, because nobody ever taught them the difference between income and wealth. Think about the people around you. Who do you think is actually wealthy? You might be completely wrong. Bridge. Stanley created one simple formula that tells you exactly where you stand, and most people avoid it because they already know they won't like the answer. Chapter 3. The PAW Formula. The number you're afraid to calculate. Most people avoid this calculation not because it's complicated, because they already sense the truth. Here it is. Take your age. Multiply by your annual income. Divide by 10. That number is what your net worth should be. Age x income 10. Your target net worth. If your actual net worth is higher, you are a PAW, a prodigious accumulator of wealth, a real wealth builder. If your actual net worth is lower, you are a UAW, under accumulator of wealth. You are earning, but not keeping. When Stanley showed people this formula, many of them went completely quiet, not because the math was hard, because they realized they had been working for 10, 15, 20 years, and had almost nothing to show for it, not because they didn't earn enough, because they spent everything they earned. Pause right now. Do you actually know your net worth? Or are you afraid to check? So what exactly do real millionaires do differently? It comes down to two habits that sound simple. But almost nobody actually follows. Chapter 4. The two core millionaire habits. Habit 1. They live below their means. This is not about being cheap. This is about being strategic. One millionaire in Stanley's study earned $500,000 a year and lived like someone earning $80,000. His friends thought he was struggling. He had $7 million quietly sitting in investments. When he got a raise, he didn't upgrade his car. He increased his investments. Same lifestyle, growing wealth, years after year after year. While everyone around him upgraded their lifestyle, he upgraded his future. Habit 2. They invest time in financial planning. Show. Person at desk, calm, reviewing simple financial plan. Stanley found something fascinating. Millionaires spend nearly 3 times more hours per month planning their finances than non-millionaires. Not because they're obsessed with money, because they understand one thing: what you don't measure disappears. The average person has no idea where their money goes. Millionaires know, down to the dollar. Not to be stingy. To be intentional, awareness is the foundation of every fortune. Now here is the part most financial books never talk about, and it might be the most dangerous trap of all. Chapter 5. Economic Outpatient Care. The gift that quietly destroys wealth. Wealthy parents who constantly give money to their adult children are unknowingly destroying their children's future. Stanley called it economic outpatient care. Here's exactly what happens. Parents give their adult child money for a bigger house. The child gets comfortable, stops being careful, starts spending more because they know help is always coming, and slowly, without realizing it, they lose the one thing that builds real wealth. Discipline. The most heartbreaking finding in Stanley's research: children who received the most financial help from parents ended up the least wealthy, not because they were bad people, because nobody let them struggle long enough to learn. The parents who raised wealthy children taught them independence early, let them face consequences, and trusted them enough to let them fail. Think about your own upbringing. Were you taught how to build wealth, or just how to spend it? And it's not just family that influences your spending. Where you live might be quietly draining everything you earn. Chapter 6. The Neighborhood Trap. Your postcode could be costing you everything. You move into a nice neighborhood. First month, everything feels great. Then, slowly, something starts happening. Your neighbor gets a new car. Suddenly, yours feels embarrassing. Their kids go to a private school. You feel pressure to do the same. They renovate their kitchen. Yours suddenly looks outdated. You don't even realize it's happening. But you start spending money just to avoid feeling less than. Stanley found that people in expensive neighborhoods consistently saved less, despite earning more, because their environment was constantly whispering, "You need to keep up," and most people listened, without ever questioning who they were keeping up for. Real millionaires understood this, so they chose neighborhoods below their means and invested the difference, quietly, patiently, for decades. Chapter 7. Choose the right career. Control is everything. One of Stanley's most striking findings: self-employed people are just 20% of the workforce, but they represent over 66% of millionaires, 2/3. That is not luck. That is a pattern. Now, Stanley is not saying quit your job tomorrow. Self-employment offers more control, but only when managed wisely. The real lesson is this: employees trade time for a fixed amount of money. That has a ceiling. Business owners build systems. Those have no ceiling, and the most successful businesses in his study, not glamorous startups. Pest control, flooring, trucking, boring businesses that quietly made their owners millionaires, while everyone else chased the flashy stuff. Outro. Thomas Stanley spent 20 years studying real wealth, and his final conclusion was something almost nobody wanted to hear. Real wealth is invisible. It is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not need to. While the world around you chases an image, real millionaires are sitting in ordinary houses, driving ordinary cars, living ordinary lives, and building extraordinary futures. The biggest lie you were ever sold is that wealth looks rich. It doesn't. It looks like discipline. It looks like patience. It looks like the person next door that you never gave a second glance. 1 year from now, you will either be building real wealth or still spending money trying to look like you have it. That choice starts today. If this hit you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Luminary Reads. Every week we break down books that actually change lives. And drop a comment. Are you a PAW or a UAW right now? Be honest. I read every single one. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing.